They say we live in an age of information. We say we live in an age of interpretation. Because today, communication is not limited to only reaching people, but also resonating with them. Pause for a second and think. In a world where a single click can start a movement, a hashtag can shape public opinion, and a reel can redefine reality, what is it that drives it all? Well, that's exactly what will unfold today. Good morning, everyone. My name is Akanksha Shrivastava, and I would like to extend a very warm and spirited welcome to all the esteemed dignitaries, guests, faculty members, media professionals, and students to the Manav Rachna Mediaverse 2025, the annual flagship media conclave of the School of Media Studies and Humanities, Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies. Our theme for this year, clicks, content, and credibility, strategic communication in a hyperlinked world, compels us to think beyond communication as a mere tool and view it as a responsibility. It captures the evolving grammar of communication in a digitally saturated world. And today, we will reflect on how strategic communication can balance creativity and ethics, ensuring that influence never overshadows integrity. Before we start, let us extend a heartfelt welcome to the esteemed dignitaries gracing this occasion. Please give a big round of applause for our guest of honor, Shri K. Satish Nambudiripad, Director General, Doordarshan, Dr. Sanjay Shrivastava, Vice Chancellor, Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies, Dr. N.C. Wadhwa, Director General, Manav Rachna Educational Institutions, Mr. Rajiv Kapoor, CEO and Managing Director, Manav Rachna Educational Institutions, Dr. Shilpi Jha, Dean, School of Media Studies and Humanities, Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies, and of course, a warm welcome to all the distinguished speakers, panelists, and participants who have joined us from across industries and institutions. Please give another round of big applause, please. Now, let's take a moment to celebrate the spirit of our nation. May I request everyone to please rise for the visual representation created by the students of Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. What a beautiful curation. Please give a big round of applause for our talented students who created it. And now, to mark the beginning of the day, we proceed with the lamp lighting ceremony symbolizing knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment. May I invite our esteemed dignitaries to kindly come forward and light the ceremonial lamp marking the auspicious start of the Manav Rachna Mediaverse 2025. Thank you all. May I request our distinguished guests to please join us on stage and take their seats as we prepare to commence today's proceedings. To extend a warm welcome, I request Dr. Sanjay Shrivastava, Dr. N.C. Vadhva, and Dr. Shilpi Jha to present a token of gratitude to our guest of honor, Shri K. Satish Nambudiripad. Please give a big round of applause. Now, to officially open today's conclave, may I now invite Dr. Shilpi Jha, Dean, School of Media Studies and Humanities, Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies, to the podium to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Akanksha. Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Mediaverse 2025. Honorable Guest of Honor, Shri K. Satish Nambudiripad, Director General Doordarshan, a seasoned bureaucrat from the Indian Information Services who has cemented our faith in the public broadcaster. I welcome you, sir, not only as a member of the Manav Rachna family, but also as your junior from the Indian Institute of Mass Communication. Our pillar of strength, Dr. Sanjay Shrivastava, Vice Chancellor, Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies. Our constant cheerleader, MD MREI, Shri Rajiv Kapoor, sir. The wind under our wings, Director General, Dr. O.P. Bhalla Foundation, Dr. N.C. Vadhva, sir. My colleagues, distinguished guests who will take up the dais during the day, for some finely curated panel discussions and flash talks, dignitaries, faculty colleagues, participants, and students. It gives me immense pleasure and happiness to introduce you all to the latest edition of our annual media conclave, Mediaverse 2025, on the theme, Clicks, Content, and Credibility, Strategic Communication in a Hyperlinked World. We live in an age where clicks can create a movement or destroy a reputation, where content travels faster than facts, and where credibility often struggles to survive the noise. We must ask ourselves, how do we communicate with strategy, with empathy, and above all, with integrity? The conclave is designed to explore these questions across multiple perspectives. In this hyperlinked world, every communicator is also a gatekeeper. every citizen a potential influencer. The lines between journalism, public relations, and digital communications are fluid. Yet, the values that must anchor them remain constant: truth, accountability, and purpose. The purpose of this conclave is not only to discuss change, but to understand it critically and engage with it responsibly. At the School of Media Studies and Humanities, our mission is to prepare our students not just to create content, but to create impact, informed, ethical, and sustainable. In fact, it gives me immense pleasure to disclose that we are probably the only media school in this country where it is mandatory for every student to complete a 2-month social sector internship before they go out for their industrial internship. So before they knock at the gate of a media organization or a PR organization or an advertising firm, they must spend at least 2 months with a NGO or a self-help group, learn to work on shoestring budget, try how to solve a communication-related problem with them without worrying about the pressures of market. Today's sessions are meant to encourage exactly that kind of thinking, where strategy meets substance and where digital innovation goes hand in hand with credibility and public trust. Before we start, I want to express my gratitude to the organizing team, our faculty, staff, and students who have worked tirelessly to make this conclave possible. May we all witness a truly upward learning curve today while exchanging ideas through deliberations. Thank you one and all, and welcome once again.
Thank you, ma'am, for setting the tone so beautifully for the day. Next, we have the privilege of welcoming a guiding force whose profound wisdom and innovative thinking have been instrumental in establishing Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies as a globally recognized institution of academic distinction. May I invite Dr. Sanjay Srivastava, our Vice Chancellor, to please join us here and share his insights with us.
Very warm good morning to all the honorable members present in this auditorium. Our chief guest of the day, respected K. Satish Nambudiripad sahab. Our senior colleagues from the foundation, Dr. N.C. Vadva ji, who is our Director General and a constant source of inspiration to many of us in all the work of the foundation. Our enthusiastic, energetic Managing Director of Manav Rachna Educational Institutions, Shri Rajiv Kapoor Sahab. The architect of this program, whose name you all know, by name she is Shilpi, so the Shilpkar of this program of the day. And the kind of persuasion she carries, your heart knows it. Our invited speakers who shall be talking to us, and all the colleagues of the media school and other deans and directors, participants from different schools and students. Every year, Media Awards, they organize an awesome program, and they get some of the top people from the country to talk to students about the recent trends in the industry. Like every year, they pick up a topic which is absolutely important and relevant for all the students who are graduating from School of Media Studies. And in last 5 years or so, especially in media industry, we are in a paradigm shift. The 3 C's chosen today, clicks, content, and credibility. I understand that when we talk about content, it has also gone for a huge paradigm shift. Clicks I am not speaking. And Namudi Saab is a known top teacher by heart, so we are very eager to listen to his views also. And we want him to speak longer so that we get some more insight in the industry. When we talk about contents, to me, as a researcher and a qualitative researcher, it talks about the manifest content, latent content, and the third aspect talks about secondary elaboration. And there is a huge debate among all these three dimensions when we talk about research, when we talk about presentation, and when we talk about understanding. The time has come to understand what is latent and what is manifest. Deepfake is also making a huge uproar and lots of confusion for ordinary citizen. The kind of news we get on social media, we are wondering whether it is right or not right. Yesterday, you must have heard about what has happened in the Beach Candy Hospital, and some of us also got to know that the whole show of Lal Killa was orchestrated by Indians only. So anything is possible. Yesterday also you got the first-hand glimpse of the exit polls, and people are working more on secondary elaborations rather than the manifestations of it. Well, I am not the right person. I am a mere researcher and thinker, and I wish to present some of the issues where I am sure that our chief guest of the day will throw light and also take us to the next level and orbit of understanding on these topics. And lastly, coming to credibility. Credibility is something is contextual in every aspect of life. Whether you are at home, as a mother, as a father, as a son, as a daughter, or wherever you are working, all those who report to you in your team, they look up to you, and credibility is something which is very, very, very important. And to all the students, credibility is something which is also, you carry a gift from your university and from your parents. And it has two components to me, and again it consists of C's only. Credibility, to me, the first and most important C, which is the nucleus of credibility, is the character. And one must differentiate between character and reputation. To you all students, character is what God knows about us, and reputation is what people know about us. Always remember, character is far more important, and at the end of the day, each one of us, we are reporting to ourselves and to the Lord, whomsoever you worship. And lastly, whatever you say, the second part of credibility to me is consistency. How consistent you are, how competent you are in your consistency. So these are the stories of few C's which one should keep in mind, along with our Chancellor, Dr. Bhalla, along with my senior colleagues. Once again, sir, hearty welcome to you, to our institution, and to all the students, and to all the guests. Please accept my admiration and best wishes. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. It reminds us how education and communication together create the fabric of more informed and empathetic society. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have among us today a stalwart from the broadcasting world, Shri K. Satish Nambudiripad, Director General, Doordarshan, whose leadership at Doordarshan has been instrumental in shaping the evolution of India's public communication landscape, keeping truth, transparency, and national voice at its very core. A 1991 batch Indian Information Service officer, Shri K. Satish Nambudiripad, brings over 3 decades of distinguished service to India's media landscape. He has led premier institutions such as Central Bureau of Communication, Electronic Media Monitoring Center, and New Media Wing, and has served as Director General, Northeastern Zone, and Additional Director General, Administration and Training at IIMC. His illustrious career spans pivotal roles such as Deputy Press Secretary to the President of India, Private Secretary to the Union Minister for Food and Public Distribution, and CEO of Norca Department, Government of Kerala, where he established Norca Roots. A prolific writer and ardent patron of the arts, he continues to enrich India's media and cultural sphere. Sir, may I request you to please join us here and say a few words.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam, for those kind words. A warm welcome. A warm good morning to each one of you. Respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. Srivastava, Shri Dr. Vadhwa, Dr. Shilpi Jha, about whose persuasion the Vice Chancellor had mentioned, but for her, persuasion is a very small word. It goes much beyond that. That's how I happen to be here. I tried my level best to wriggle out of this visit, but she was so insistent. Thank you very much for calling me over and giving this wonderful opportunity of seeing this university and being in the midst of you all. Sri Rajiv Kapoor, other distinguished panelists, my dear friend, Professor Rajiv, students or the scholars of this department, as well as other departments of Manav Rachna University, distinguished panelists who will be speaking after me, dear friends. First of all, I should compliment the Manav Rachna University, or as well as the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, School of Media and Humanities, and the Institute of Research and Studies for organizing this wonderful event. I think it is an annual event, and giving the kind of perspective that one needs to give or to have on to this most important aspect of human life, that is called communication. Before coming to that, I just wanted to take a minute of yours. I'm sure that you know the importance of the day from communication perspective. I'll not embarrass by asking you, the students. I'll not enact as a teacher. I mean, in a classroom. Today happens to be the National Public Service Broadcast Day, November 12th, the day when Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, went all the way to All India Radio building in Parliament Street. His first and the one and only lecture or public service broadcast to the nation in 1947. Couple of months before he died, I think. He addressed the partition trauma, especially the people from both sides of India. Since 2000, we have been organizing this day as a National Public Service Day. So we cannot, I don't know whether it was sheer coincidence or it is the same day that you organize it every day, every year. It's an extremely important day, not only for the journalism and communication students, but also for public service broadcaster, whom I represent. From that perspective, I also think that DG All India Radio would have been a better person to address you all, because my institution did not have the fortune or the great privilege of hosting the Mahatma, the father of the nation. Only All India Radio was there at the time. Probably you would have approached him or whatever. My dear friend, Mr. Rajiv Jain is currently the DG. And probably I am here as a substitute, if not as a second best. So there is a lot of difference between second best and a substitute. But I'm extremely, extremely glad to be in your midst. The topic, of course, is connected to the strategic communication in a hyperlinked world. I'll try to touch upon a few aspects which you all know. In the sense, there is hardly anything that a teacher has to tell this kind of a knowledgeable gathering. You're all studying, pursuing the studies, and as Swami Vivekananda said, that there's hardly anything new for a teacher to tell you. Information comes to you either as a serendipity, sometimes new things, or very often as déjà vu. You already know, you reconnect. But let us together go through the communication domain that is witnessing nothing short of revolution. On the conventional side, it's a continued vibrant growth of media, print media and electronic media. It's a very strange thing that India is the only country. I'll not go into each of, I'll only mention very because of time, paucity, etc. India is the only country which is still having its print media rising in number every year after year. It's a very strange paradox. There are reasons for that, but we can't discuss it in a public forum. PRG, the Press Registrar General, who gives the titles to the Indian, print journalism, has got something to 150,000 odd titles given since independence. And the number is still growing. What is the reason? When the world over, it is not the trend. As far as TV is concerned, I represent Doordarshan, as you all know, India's the oldest, and we call it Desh Ka Pehla, Desh Ka Apna channel, which came into being in 1959, and by 65 started. It is a very capital-intensive kind of an activity. The world over, it is the governments of the day which set up all radios and Doordarshan, TVs, etc. That was the case in India also. Started off a very small way. We'll go to that later. By up to 1992, 93, Doordarshan was operating in an exclusive market, entirely monopolistic. We'll come to that aspect later. On the sociological front, the expanded role of civil society, citizens' consciousness, more important, rapidly growing aspirational youth population. That has made all the difference on the sociological front. And on the technological front, or technological plane, I don't have to mention, you all, the Generation Z, as you call yourself, you are the product of that. Blockchain and artificial intelligence and big data, messaging apps, etc., etc. What distinguishes these two or three things, whatever we mentioned, from the communication of yore is that Internet has become the medium of the present day communication. Alexander Aitken, the former head of government communication in Britain, UK, he had famously remarked that there's never been a more exciting time to be a communication professional. I would rather like to quote William Wordsworth, the romantic poet. Bliss was in that dawn to be alive, and to be young was very heaven. Bliss was in that dawn to be alive, and to be young was very heaven. I also feel jealous of you people who are young in these days. He was talking about the French Revolution in those days. I think it is exactly true in the case of the technological revolution and communication per se. But for the communication professional, what holds true probably maybe less a Wordsworth, but more of a Chinese proverb which says that may you live in exciting times. You all think that it's a wish, but actually it is a curse. May you live in exciting times. Exciting means turbulent times. I'm told that it is a Chinese way of cursing people. The internet becoming the present day interpersonal communication medium. Social media standing for the interpersonal, the chowpals of this, which your grandfathers or parents, etc., they had it. I'm sure that you're aware of the four agents or four agents that unshackle the genie of knowledge from the bottle of exclusivity or control. We in India, we talk of the Shruti and Smriti, Vedas, etc. The limit, our knowledge was always limited. That's why we used to call it knowledge is power. Then initially the books, papyrus, etc. came. Books, previously even that was not there. Then John Gutenberg came with the printing press. It all took years in between, hundreds and 200, 300, 500, 600 years. In the last 60 to 70 years, starting in 1960, four things, one after another, came in and changed entire horizon or what do you call the firmament of information revolution. First is computer, then came internet, then came the mobile phone, very expensive, 12 rupees per second or 3 seconds. And now the mobile telephony, marrying all the four into one, which has totally changed the way we consume, deal with information. I call it democratization of knowledge spread, positively or negatively, or rather what you call contra-positively, I call it the de-Brahmanization of knowledge control. It had made no more the knowledge is power, information is power, no more, because nobody is controlling it. Now information is becoming a difficult issue to deal with. Vice Chancellor Sahab briefly mentioned about it. The need to go into the fine print. Social media, as you all know, it has become, we were mentioning that this has become the byword for interpersonal communication. Husband and wife sit together, chat in coming back from office. They sit on either side of the dining table and ask in WhatsApp, how was your day? She says, mine was wonderful. What about yours? So that is a kind of, children talk to their ma, the breakfast is ready. She says, yeah, come over. Then they come. It is a communication ecosystem entirely technology driven, interactive, allowing everybody to publish and broadcast any content. And it is technology agnostic, time agnostic, platform agnostic, it is time agnostic, not technology agnostic, And for information professionals, what you have to understand that it has got seamlessly integrated with the mainstream media. If you see the newspapers of the day, those of you, very few of them, you will be reading newspapers, I'm sure. They say that the internet or the technology medium or the social media is a major or vital source of information, leads, stories, trends, data, etc., even on the traditional media. That has become the case. And what does it signify, or what is the characteristic of it? Exponential increase in volume, velocity, and variety of data. News breaks and it fades away, 24/7, 365, minute and minute. Again, something mentioned. Often it is no news break at all. The most important thing for people like you who are trying to be professionals is that it has cut down on the role of the middlemen, information middlemen. You have professors who started, probably even Dr. Shilpi Jha in the 20 years back, a journalist in Times of India or Hindustan Times, or the editor or the reporter, they were basically the information gatemen. They controlled, they decided. I'm not talking it negatively. The newspapers controlled, or the public broadcast system controlled what the people should know. Only that much information went, because there was a lot of information. That role of the information middleman has totally been over, and everybody is a journalist now. You may not even understand when I mention that, at least your professors will understand, there was a time when the difference between the UNIPTA, the news agency journalism, and the newspaper journalism. We called them for a press conference. All the journalists from Times of India, Hindustan Times, after the press conference, they can stay back and have a cup of tea, they'll eat, they'll lunch, because they need to publish it only next day. Whereas the UNI and PTI, they'll have to rush then, because they have to compete with each other. The turnaround time has become totally less. Now the issue is that even the Times of India, Hindustan Times is working less on, sorry for taking these names, I didn't mean it. Even they are working more as a newspaper journalism, because they have to inform. The turnaround time has to be so little, as limited as possible. It has given way to what is called the VUCA world of information. I'm sure that you have been told about it. VUCA is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. There are songs, etc., etc. Probably it has come from the African musical term. Volatile V, uncertain U, complex C, and ambiguous A. The problem in information dissemination is in converting that volatility into vision, uncertainty into understanding, complexity into clarity, and ambiguity into agility. How do we do that? That is the biggest question. It is all about breaking the ice. That ice is information, communication, and entertainment world of ice. Government communication. Now, as a government servant, I know that GovCom is not cutting much ice with 2/3 of its population who are below 35 years of age, the so-called Generation Z. It's time that every institution, private sector has been doing too. I can take an hour on the difference between the private sector and the government sector, and what is good and what is bad for each and every, being an unbiased interpretation. There is no time for that. What is the problem with each? But coming back to the GovCom, etc., because the young generation is consuming content anytime, any length, anywhere, and the days of binge watchings are in, government needs to counter it, this onslaught, with a two-pronged strategy of strengthening the delivery mechanism across the board and invigorating its public outreach communication apparatus through technological interventions, data-driven facts, and going digital. You have to be digitalized, and work towards digital transformation. Have you noticed what is the difference between these three? We all use it: digitize, digitalize, digital transformation, etc. There is a specific meaning, differential meanings in this. Digitization is the process of converting physical information into electronic format. When this process is leveraged to improve business processes, it is called digitalization. And the result it brings about is digital transformation. Probably this applies to institutions like DD also. I need to speak a minute about DD, Doordarshan, the institution that I represent. As I mentioned, came into being in, how all these things, through all these understanding, how do we navigate? That's what I want to say. At least the top leadership should know what it is and how we are moving ahead. DD came into being in the 59s. All India Radio was there much earlier, 1927 onwards, pre-independence days. We are actually a post-independence as part of the All India Radio. By 65, we started operating. 72 to 75 days of expansion. By 10, when all the metros, etc., came into being. 82, the first color TV came into India. Ask your parents, they will talk about Mrs. Gandhi's Independence Day address, quickly followed by the 82 Asiad. Then in 1.5 years' time, her tragic death, which all were, broadcast to the nation in color format, which also gave boost to the sale and purchase of TVs, etc. We all belong to that generation. Sorry for being a little bit nostalgic or homesick about it. But currently, Doordarshan or a bouquet is one of the 915 channels which are uplinking and downlinking in the country. Those days of exclusivity are gone. The generation, including that of your Vice Chancellor and his parents who grew up on DD, when he talks to DG Doordarshan, he'll say that, DG Sahab, Doordarshan hai na, jo purana, utna अच्छा नहीं है. ठीक नहीं, जमता नहीं है, हम लोग, we don't watch it. You know the reason? The exclusive market that I was talking about. Sorry for the international audience. It is no more as good. Probably they are not even concerned about DD. They don't even watch DD. So that is fine in the sense. I mean, it is not contextual. That's what I mean. I'm not saying that you are not important. The context is not very important for you. That is what I mean. I didn't mean your understanding is not important. The reason is that the minute you are judging it, those days you saw it as an exclusive. There was no other thing. That the same Hum Log and without, I should not name it as, the same program if you see now, it may not be so interesting. I often call or say, I mean, legacy is my strength, legacy is my burden also. At least the knowledgeable professionals, communication experts should know it. One, this is applicable only to DD, because the rest of then the private sector, government sector, those differences are there, operational freedom, and I told you, we can go on a 1-hour lecture on that. How the so-called notions and anything about government is bad, it's an institution that we all love to hate. There are so many issues. फलाना होगा तो बहुत अच्छा होगा, ये सरकारी होगा, खराब होना ही है, क्योंकि कैसे होगा, खराब है. So there are larger issues. Number two is, which is applicable to all these private sector satellite TVs, that the changeover from the satellite revolution to the digital revolution. You know the difference? Satellite revolution is time specific. It is called appointment viewing. You see Ramayana only at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning, because that is the time when the satellite will uplink, and that's the time it will downlink, and that's the only time when a TV can see it. Whereas digital is time agnostic. So all the 915 channels, all the NDTVs and ZTVs, and they're all facing this problem. I'm sure that there's a distinguished panels, they'll be talking about it. And third, again specific to Doordarshan, is that entertainment is no more the primary concern of the government, because 180 billion people in India, we are all our own broadcasters, our own entertainers, our own media message. We have no other time but to, morning I had my breakfast, yesterday it was upma, today it is idli. My wife made beautiful idli. I mean, you know, this is the kind of, yesterday I saw, I mean, after a cold day in office, I goes back up, home, and my husband has already prepared very hot chicken soup. What a loving husband, etc. So every one of us into entertaining each other. And after seeing it, where is the time for you to see any other entertainment? But as DG Doordarshan, I cannot rest on 3 problems. I need to talk of 4 solutions also. Content is very important. Vice Chancellor mentioned about it. He took it on a different plane, metaphysical plane, etc. On the larger issue, as far as TV or journalism is concerned, content is what you watch, you know, or what you see. That is the limited meaning, sir. That interchannel integration, etc. Then social media outreach is very important. And finally, I'm rushing with it because of the time. There are others also to speak. There's no point in, you know, going digital is the way out. And DD, or the public broadcaster, had also come out with the Waves OTT. We are government, anything that comes up in the public space, government has to be there, because the question of equity will be dealt only by the government. You will wonder, why is government into hospitals? Why is government into roads? Why is government, in bus transportation? Why is government into education? Why can't the privatization, you know, why can't everything be given to public people, etc.? Please understand the reason behind it is that the question of equity is being handled, or addressed only by the government, especially in countries like it. So it's not that government is doing a stupid job. Government is doing an important issue. While expansion is important, excellence is important, employability is important, equity is also very important. And that is precisely what government is doing. We are trying our level best. Then there are other issues. Coming back to the end of we started with communication. The professionals, you should please understand that Gore Vidal, the American thinker, humorist, famously mentioned that at any given point or given in any given moment, public opinion is a chaos of superstition, misinformation, and prejudice. It's not easy to navigate this. Precisely what George Bernard Shaw mentioned. The single biggest problem in communication, or the single biggest irony in communication, is the illusion that it has taken place. Communication is not as an easy thing, because there are two things for that, my dear friends, younger students. One, there is absolutely no exclusivity for the job that you're doing. Please don't think that journalists are exclusive. No. Because along with eating, mating, and sleeping, which are the three basic instincts which 15 billion living organisms do, only human beings do all these things, establishing Manav Rachna University and making somebody the vice chancellor and holding this kind of a meeting. It is only human beings. No other living organism does this. And there is creativity issues, etc. That is another issue. Why we are doing Sargatmakata, that is called creativity. That has made us different. But along with that, communication is the fourth most important basic instinct. So everybody does it. So there's absolutely a policeman has some exclusivity of job, a thief has an exclusivity of job, an income tax practitioner has an exclusivity of job, a miner and a fruit seller has. But they all indulge in communication. And it is your job to discern that. There is absolutely no exclusivity in your job. You're doing one job which 15 billion living organisms does, 6 or 7 billion human beings does, even your pet and cats and dogs do. So let us not have any great idea about it. So itself, we don't tend to listen to each other. Vedavyasa, this is the last of my words. I'm taking Vedavyasa after writing, 4 Vedas and Shastras and 18 Puranas, Bhagavat Bharatam. He ends with, the last shloka of Mahabharata? The story, Urdhva Bahur Viraumyesho Nahi Kaschit Shrunoti Me Dharmadas Arthascha Kamascha Sadharmam Kim Na Sevyate. Last 2 lines are less important. First 2 lines are very important for the information communication professional. Raising both my hands and I've been crying from a public place. Urdhva Bahur Viraumi. I am crying loud. Eshav Nahi Kaschit Shrunoti Me. Nobody is listening to me. Dharmadarthasya kamasya sadharmam kim na sevyate. Why don't you people do the dharma? Nobody listen to anybody. Having started with Mahatma, let us go back to Mahatma. His life message. The way all great works will have to be redone. I'm not saying that he was correct in everything, but how to live, the balance between there is enough for everybody's need, but none for anybody's greed. Let us think of it, because ultimately humanity is important, our life is more important, what we give back to the nature is important. And that is precisely the day, that is precisely what Mahatma conveyed through his first and one and only National Public Service broadcast. Wish you a great day. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for your attention. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such profound reflections with us. It has set the intellectual rhythm for the conclave today and will surely resonate with every dialogue that follows. With this, we conclude the inauguration ceremony of the Manav Rachna Mediaverse 2025. I request you all to kindly rise for the national anthem.
There is no audio.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind. I request everyone to please take your seats as we begin our first panel discussion for the day. The theme for the